All right, welcome to another episode of the Fair Chase podcast. Today I have AJ from Knights of the Apex, or is it KOTA? Do you guys call it KOTA?
Either one's good with me. So
Okay. Well, all right. This is what I want you to do for me, AJ. I'm going to need your name, what you do, where you live, and your favorite hunt in that order. Go.
Oof. Okay. Name AJ Iaquinta. I am the sole person behind Knights of the Apex Instagram and YouTube channels, also known as KOTA. That's the acronym for it. Favorite hunt. I love whitetail hunting. I haven't hunted out west yet. Are we talking like an actual hunt or like general?
I'm saying like a very like one day, one hunt, like very specific time and place.
Oh, okay. That's an easier
Does that
one
work?
then.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, I can do that one. Honestly, if I had one day, one hunt, opening day of turkey season here in Florida is yeah, that might come as like a shock to some people, but it's just a ton of fun. They're going crazy. It's early March here in Florida is when the opener is, and it's usually right around my birthday. And I love that opening day of turkey season.
There, every year that I turkey hunt, I like it more. Like
Yeah,
every year it grows. And like I would say the first day of turkey hunting is I can hardly sleep. You know, you go out, it's like your first time being in a good woods in a while. You're
yep.
hearing the bugs and stuff, seeing some green. Yeah, that's I like it. All right. And so you got where you live. You said Jacksonville, Florida.
Tampa,
Jacksonville?
Florida.
Tampa, Florida. Sorry. Right. All right. And so the next thing we're gonna do before we jump into your hunting story is I'm gonna need you to tell me, like, okay, so has hunting season opened by you yet?
Yeah, yep. Actually, it just opened last weekend.
Okay, so you're going out. I assume you take like a backpack or something, right?
I do. Yep.
All right. So think about what's in your backpack right now
Okay.
that you would take out with you. What would be the most useless piece of gear that you bring? Like the thing that like it's you can't even believe you take it out.
Oh man. There's probably a couple of things. I've been working really hard to hone down what I'm packing
Cut it down.
for the last couple of years. I always have an obnoxious amount of like carabiners with me for some reason.
Oh, just hanging off.
Just hanging off. Yeah. Like I always like anticipate I'm going to be hooking stuff onto things that I never do. Like I've always got extra paracord and carabiners that I don't know what I expect I'm going to be repelling or something, but yeah, and it probably adds up to a decent amount of weight in my pack, but yeah.
Well, you know what though? That's not bad. Like if there's anything you can like, I don't know. That's not very wasteful.
What's up? We are going to thank a few of these sponsors that help make this beautiful show a reality for all of you. So Here we go. So a big reason, I would say, to why we're so successful and we have so many bucks on the wall is because we use HuntWise. HuntWise is a GPS mapping app that you can download on any phone, any platform. You can look up public land huntings, ORV trails. You can get the weather. They actually have a HuntCast 2.0 that they teamed up with Jeff Sturgis to make. It's awesome. You need to check this thing out. Go to HuntWise, download the app.
I feel like if you go into the woods without optics, it's like going into the woods without pants on. Would you agree with that?
To a point.
To a point. We are huge fans of running binoculars, spotting scopes, and different things when we hunt, even whitetail. I bring binoculars out every time I go. We choose Vortex Optics because they make the best glass in the business. They have an amazing warranty, super clear glass, super helpful people that work there.
Also, if you want to rep some sweet Vortex swag like this warm shirt on a nice fall day, head over to Vortex Wear. Thank you. And use the promo code TFC20 for 20% off your purchase. Saddle game, you need to be in it. If you haven't been in it yet, then you don't know what you're missing.
Yeah.
Trophy Line Tree Sales makes some of the best saddles in the industry. They have 3 different platforms that we use and that are awesome.
I want to make a quick plug for the Wingman with a couple steps. You can take one less stick, and it's like a combination of a stick and a platform. I've been exclusively hunting out of it this year, and my mobile setup is so sweet. I'm very proud of it.
Awesome.
I highly recommend the Wingman system.
If you're ready to pull the trigger on that and you want to get with James and do the Wingman, head over to the website and you can save yourself 10% on the purchase. TFC 10 will get you that. I like to think I single-handedly got James to switch to compound again but I'd probably be a liar, and everyone would call me out on that. We shoot prime bows. We think they're awesome. Great accuracy, super shootable.
Made here in Michigan.
Made in Michigan, so we love that. It's hard to complain.
That's where Jared was made. So
surprisingly,
we like that. Yeah.
You're welcome. So go check out these prime bows.
We are of a firm belief that the arrow is the lifeblood of the archery industry. We've said it 1,000 times. But in all seriousness, we are huge fans of arrows that are durable, that fly well, and that kind of make up for some of my inaccuracies in the way that I shoot. So we shoot Vector custom arrows.
The hammer.
The hammer.
That's Thor.
They are made in Wisconsin by our buddy Isaac. Great arrows. And if you want to go and get yourself some, have a little bit of a discount, use TFC10 for 10% off. Or call Isaac up and tell him we sent you.
Mm-hmm. You want his phone number? Comment below.
Yep, comment below.
Like there's way worse things.
For sure. I have been guilty of having way worse things, but yeah, I like, I'm pretty anal about, like, at the end of the season, really looking at, like, what did I actually use and what did I not use, even going down to clothes and seeing, like, can I get rid of it? Can I pass this down to somebody? Can I sell it? Things like that. So really trying to trim the fat, because also, like, the longer you start doing this, you start bringing more equipment to capture content and share things. And I feel like that has just slowly replaced all of the unnecessary hunting gear. So yeah, I think it's more becoming more unnecessary camera equipment, which is much less fun to talk about. But
so are you the kind of guy that has, like, you have one pair of pants, or like, what, are you like down to like you have one merino under base layer, do you have multiples?
No, I've got multiples. I like being clean. I don't freak out about scent control as much as a lot of guys, especially a lot of whitetail hunters. I prefer to just I'll be clean, and I'm the first guy to do a load of laundry at camp, for sure. So yeah, I've usually got 2 or 3 that I'll then rotate out throughout the week if I'm at a whitetail camp or something like that.
All right. Fair enough. You like to be clean. I can respect it. All right. So we're going to jump right into your story. So, we had talked ahead of time about you coming on and telling, like, a really great hunting story that you've lived through. So we're going to start there, and then we want you to end with a tip that maybe led to success, or what you learned from failure. Can you do that?
Yeah, sure. For sure.
I'll be interrupting with, as I interrupt you now, with questions. So know that I'm going to be asking a little bit. All right.
Perfect.
All right.
Perfect.
Jump in.
Yeah. So I grew up hunting upstate New York in the Catskill Mountains. My grandparents have some property there, so I go up there at least once every fall, either in September. I actually just got back from there for early season bear, which is where this story will take place. Or I make it a point to get up there for November for the whitetail rut. And a couple of years ago, first bear hunt. We just started over the last couple of years seeing bears regularly on our property, and New York's a hard place to hunt bears because you can't bait. You can't bait anything in New York unless you have some special nuisance permits. So, yep. We've been fortunate enough to, like, on our piece of property, between our family, like, someone's taken one off there every year. And it's not that we have any special skills. It's just that we're very blessed geographically where we're at, that our property has a ridgeline with an old logging road on it that's loaded with white acorns around this time of year. And on the back side of that mountain is really just sheer rocky, yep. And then on the other side is a nice bench, right? So the two play off of each other. The deer like to hang out on that bench. The bears and the predators like to hang out on that dark rocky area. We think that's where a lot of the bears den and whatnot. So
question about that. A couple of things. 2 questions. First of all, sorry to interrupt, but
no, I like this.
You ever read My Side of the Mountain?
I haven't.
Oh, dude, it's the Catskill Mountains. I read this when I was a kid.
Write that down.
It's like an easy read. It's like a kid read. Okay. But it's awesome. And this kid decides he's done. He's going to run to the mountains and survive. So he goes out, he catches a falcon as a kid, like a baby falcon, trains it, names it Frightful, and lives out there. And it's a whole book about this kid's adventure. And he is in the Catskill Mountains. It's okay. You got to read it. It's great. One of the great hunting books.
That's awesome.
My second question is, so you're talking about saddles. So you're saying that obviously, people that we know that do a lot of hunting in the mountains, or especially like the eastern type of mountains for whitetail. They talk about really focusing on saddles as kind of almost pinch points. So you're saying you're looking for bears that are like looking for an ambush spot along there? What do you mean by that?
It started out where, we were just whitetail hunting, and then occasionally someone would see a bear. And then we realized that the smaller bears were, and just predators in general, coyotes, foxes, the little like ferret looking, I'm blanking on the name right now. But we noticed they would hang out on, it's like the northeast corner side of the mountain. So it's just darker. It doesn't get as much light. There's a lot more rocky outcropping. And we would just notice that like the predators would just hang out on that side. And then the big bears would just walk we didn't have a lot of cameras on the logging roads, because that's not where we were concerned with deer, because the deer that we were hunting were crossing on all the in-betweens. But we started noticing that the bigger bears were just literally walking the logging roads like it was nobody's business.
Sure.
So
I see them on logging roads all the time, especially out west. I see like a lot.
Yep. And I've heard that from guys out west, but again, East Coast, we were never hunting bears. And then just within the last decade, it really blew up. I know the same thing's happening in Jersey and PA and all over the Northeast right now. So it just had never been a focus before. So we started shifting a couple of our stand locations to kind of pinch points where these logging roads kind of branched off. And one that actually it kind of forks off, and it either continues along the ridge or it goes down to this rocky backside that I'm talking about. So that's one of the points that we decided to set up. So my dad had done a lot of the recon. He lives up there. So, I rely on him to be my eyes and ears for most of the year, since I live down in Florida now.
Yeah.
But so he set me up in this spot. We got in before dark, and normally, like if I get in and it's still dark, I can't even see my hand in front of my face. I'll close my eyes for a little bit. And when you're in the woods, like you always, like when things are dark, you feel like you're seeing bears, but it never actually is, especially when you're a kid. Right. So I just remember being there, and I could hear like crunching and moving around me. I figured it was just stuff, the usual stuff that moves around in the middle of the night. Right. Like didn't really think anything of it. And then it started to get lighter. And I'm like, that's probably just I saw a little ball of darkness, and I was like, that's probably just a tree that fell over. It's like the base of a tree. Right. And then just close my eyes again for another, 10, 15 minutes. And when I open up again, I'm like, the tree has moved. And I can definitely hear it crunching, like it's moving closer to me now. So it's starting to get lighter, and I can make it out in my rangefinder that it's definitely a bear. It's moving, and I can, at this point, he's slowly just kind of making his way through, eating those white acorns as he goes. I think he was actually going through like an old rotted out log, maybe looking for grubs or something, but I could hear him. He was about 30 yards away, and I could hear him crunching just as it was getting to the legal shooting lights. So I was all amped up, just started going through some, just like relax myself, calm myself, because it's September. So it's that's the first thing I'd hunted all year. So I was all jacked up, right? Hadn't had a great season the year before. So you only feel as good as your last shot, right? So I was very eager to, reclaim a good shot on an animal. So definitely, probably should have waited, because we were in the shadows. And with black bears, I mean, you guys know, like it can be hard to judge exactly how they're orientated. And and I definitely made a mistake with that, because I was able to make him out clearly. It was legal shooting light. My peep was clear. My shot release felt good. But when I hit him, I was like, the fletchings didn't disappear. And the way he turned around and just barreled ass down the mountain, it didn't feel like as great of a shot as I was anticipating. So it seemed like he was kind of dragging a back leg or something. So gave him time. And my dad could hear the shot from where he was. The property's not that big. So he heard, he heard the bear just barrel off down the mountain. So we gave him time. We went, we looked, we had good blood. Not great tracks, but he was dragging. Just dragging everything behind him. The blood trail was really solid. Anytime he passed by like a branch or a tree, I mean, it was painted, but he wasn't dropping a lot on the ground, which isn't that crazy, because they've got thick fur.
And that fat will close it up a little bit too.
Absolutely. And I was using at the time, I think I was using a Sever 2.0, which, the first couple of yards, because it's still a 2 blade, usually like the first 10, 20 yards, I don't get crazy good blood. And then it really opens up. So didn't really think anything of it, started getting more good blood. And then it just got really intermittent, and we were going for probably a couple 100 yards at this point down the backside of the mountain. And it hit a point where we hit this little like grass opening just in the middle of the forest, and everything just stopped. Like there was no more trail, there was no more nothing, and we just started circling. We both like, we never got negative. Like we never talked about like, calling it quits or anything like that. Like we just felt really, really good for some reason. And in general, like we're not the type of family that'll just give up on an animal without like exhausting every possible effort. And it got to the point where, there's no more tracks, there was no more blood. But like buried in this tall grass was a pile of shit. Mm-hmm. And it didn't, the only way for him to go, it was right on the edge of this, like just gnarly, just overgrown bush and vegetation. And it's like, there's no way it chose to go right down the middle of this, right? Like it definitely went left or right, but there was no trail left or right. And it was about a couple of feet into this gnarly, just overgrowth that we picked up the blood trail again. And we're literally like crawling through this. And then after that, we found a little mud hole where he had definitely bedded down for a little bit. And then we came over the edge, and there was this beautiful little river. And he was just laying there right there in the middle of the river. And it was just this picturesque spot, like just beautiful, looked like Fern Gully that we were, and it was a murderous little hole to get out of. So we ended up, we couldn't get a Ranger or 4x4 or anything back there to get it out. And we just had like little day packs, because we were, again,
sure.
Like, it's our property. Usually we can get an ATV within 100 yards of.
You can get far back. How far back were you in that?
We were probably a good 400 or 500 yards from where I had shot it. So it had dragged itself a good ways. And when we recovered it, I had realized that he was probably quartering away from me a little bit more. And he might've even been turned like, so that his spine was, I guess, a little bit, it was almost more like a more vertical shot than I had thought it was. So I had actually hit him in the spine, and it had deflected down, and the mechanical blades, luckily I had hit that artery that runs along the spine. So, I mean, he died pretty quickly, it seemed like, but he definitely, I mean, he dragged himself for a lot of the way. So I was very fortunate. It was one of those hits where like we looked back and we talked about it a lot. Like if I had had a fixed blade, would that have made a difference? If I hadn't had the mechanical, would I have still clipped that artery the way I did? Right. It was one of those interesting case studies, but anyway, I was just getting to recover it in that beautiful scenery with my pops, and we had to hike that thing out. We had no cell service, which was also rare for the area. We're in upstate New York, right? Like it's not the boonies, but we couldn't get any cell service. So we literally just field dressed them. I threw the hide over my shoulders, and we just freaking hiked the thing out of there until back up to the ridge where we had cell service again. And we were just, we got back to the house just covered in blood with the bear fur on me. And I've got a trail camera of us walking in the dark, and a trail camera of us walking out with the bear pelt on us. And it was just cool. It was cool. Anytime you can recover something with your dad or with, whoever your mentor was, like, it's just a special experience. And it changed the way like we thought about hunting.
How so?
Because that area of our property, that backside, we had never really, that was kind of like the sanctuary we left off, but we had never really explored it. So, and we had never really considered hunting it as much. But now that like we're starting to see more bears, we started looking into that more. And also it just changed like the little gear that we bring, right? Like my pops invested in the external frame Kafaru pack just for those weird, odd times where,
which one did he get?
I actually don't
like
know.
One of those, is it one of the fold, like pretty small, like whitetail ones, or is it like a pretty big?
No,
like, what's the size of it?
He got the full kit and caboodle. So he got I want to say, because I think they've got two models of their external frames. So he got like the heavy duty
Oh, okay.
Not the military frame one. He got the other one, but I forget. I'm blanking on the names. I'm terrible with their product line. But then he basically outfitted it for whitetail. So like other than the frame itself, he's got like a series of smaller pouches on there. So it's still very like whitetail centric. But he can throw a ladder, or not a ladder stand. He can throw a stand on there.
Yep.
We can pack out an animal if we need to. And it's just a more versatile pack system than just having the little day packs like we normally carry in. So
were you guys in a were you in it? I'm looking at, I found the picture.
Okay.
It's really sweet. I mean, that is super picturesque, right in that little stream.
Yeah.
All green behind you.
Yep.
Were you up in a tree or like, okay.
Yeah, so we were in ladder stands. It's our property, so we'll leave the stands up there. So yeah, we were in like I don't even think it was Novix back then. It might have been Lone Wolf still, but yeah, we were in one of those type stands. So I was a couple hundred yards away from my dad. He was at another choke point, kind of doing some recon there, and I mean it worked out. Just a fun hunt.
I've always wanted to, and it's high on my list, the Northeast, especially like the New York area. It's like that. Like I said, growing up reading about the Catskills, like, and having lived out there for a while, but never hunted. It just looks awesome. And that's an awesome story. So now you've figured out that they're back to, this is what, 2021. Like, Are you hunting back there now? How are you doing it?
We are still now. We've got part of having property where like our whole family hunts on is you're also trying to find the spots where like nobody else is going.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're hunting the in-betweens, right? Like my grandfather's getting a little older. I don't think he really knows how much noise he makes getting into the stand. Yeah. So kind of
I aspire to be be someday. That'll be me. It'd be awesome.
Yeah, he's got like the Taj Mahal of tree stands built. Like it's like a framed out little, like it might as well be a cabin up on the little knob of the mountain that we're on. But so we've been we mostly we still keep it as kind of like a sanctuary. There is some whitetail trails running to and from there, but it's one of those areas where like it's for whitetail, it's lower percentage, but the bucks take those routes.
Right.
But for the rut, we can still get them on the ridge because they're going to where the does are intersecting, right? So like we've got a little spot right there where, just like where we're hunting bears, that's kind of Times Square for the top of the mountain where we're at. Yeah. So, and then my cousins, they're hunting a choke point more on the other side of the property, just where it's the only thick patch of timber over there. So that's kind of where everything's walking through. So we kind of, at this point with cell cams the way they are, and I think there's like 6 or 7 of us hunting this property, like everything is covered now.
I'm looking back at your pictures. It looks like, did you shoot a buck out of that spot, or is that a different spot?
That was a different spot. Yeah, that was a different spot that, so that is actually, I've killed pretty much all the deer I've killed on that property have been on the bench on the other side of the ridge. So yeah, on the other side of that ridge, there's a bench that just runs the whole length of the mountain, and they'll walk that, right. They'll come up at different points, and then they'll walk down south. There's like a choke point that just funnels by some roads, and that's where a lot of stuff passes by. And I think they actually kind of like that knob. So the ridge like ends in like a knob, and I think that's not our property anymore, so we can't really go figure it out, but we think that they are actually running around that knob as well. So we'll see
that would totally make sense. Yep.
Yeah, because we'll see them on cameras on the backside and the front side, so it makes sense that that's what they're doing.
I have to ask, because I love to eat bear. How have you been eating on that? Did you finish the bear?
Oh yeah, it's gone. It's long gone.
That goes first for us. I shot a bear in Montana this spring.
Yep.
And we ate it, and there still was deer from the fall still in the freezer. Like, we go through that so fast.
I'm so glad you said that, because it gets such a bad rep. And I think it just has to do with the preparation. And I think a lot of people are just, they overthink it. Like it has to be cooked by like pork, right? It doesn't have to be done well done. Like I think a lot of we did that. We made that mistake the first couple of times we cooked, because we were just so paranoid, right? And then it's
different. It's like a different kind of meat sometimes. You know what I mean? It's kind of like beef, but it's a bear, so it's Yeah, I totally know what you mean. And do you render the fat?
No, I haven't. We haven't gotten that far into it. Gotta take that on though.
When you're ready, I think we posted one on our blog. We did the best way to render oil. I'm on my second, bear. I only shot two. But I'm just finishing up the lard. You just render it down. It's awesome for pretty much everything. It doesn't have really any flavor. So next time you go out and get that, East Coast mountain bear.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to send that to my family. I was hoping to get one, so we were just hunting again this past weekend. I didn't get one, unfortunately, but yeah, I'll pass that along for sure.
And everybody who's listening, he takes incredible pictures. I mean, like that your Instagram page is awesome. So scroll back and you'll see what he means. It's all there. It's really awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
Great pictures. And some of the gear stuff, it's like, what? It's just awesome. To finish up the podcast though, you're thinking through this hunt, you said this comes to mind as, a great hunting story for you. Looking back, what did you learn? Or, you had, obviously in this case, you were successful. What'd you learn? What was it? What was the reason you were successful in that, like you're bringing forward?
Well, I think it was I think it was one of I would consider myself lucky, right? More than successful. And I think, looking back, it was the combination of the lows that made the highs so great.
Yeah.
Right. And also there's this weird thing where I don't know if I should ask my wife, I don't know if women are like this, but I feel like as guys, we bond in the suck for whatever reason. And I think, having those downs of we were tracking, we weren't sure if we were going to get it, but we were still staying positive. And then when we did, sharing that experience and then having to hike that thing out of there, which sucked. Right. Yeah. But it's still like a bonding experience. Yep. There's something about that just really sticks. I'll always remember that hunt. Just because, and it was my first bear. So, and actually my only bear. So
bears are awesome. Bears are awesome.
Yeah. There's something special about them. There really is, they're a cool creature for sure. It's I've seen them in the woods, hunting other things and just smaller ones than I was willing to take. And they're just so cool to watch. Bears just do bear stuff. They're not like anything else in the woods.
Yeah. Yeah. They move differently. It's just, I don't know. It's romantical thing about bears that I really like. All right. Well, hey, thank you for coming on. Like I said, check out his photography. Where can people figure out, where can they follow you? Where can they buy some of the gear you guys sell?
For sure. Yeah. So Knights of the Apex, that's Knights with a K on Instagram. That's definitely where I'm most active. It's where I'll post all of the gear stuff. I think the flat lay photos and gear lays. So I'm always mixing and trying different stuff. That's how this whole thing started. And Knights of the Apex on YouTube as well. I'll do some reviews and things like that. And working on putting my first hunt vid together, hunting out of a saddle for the first time this year here in Florida. Ooh. So yeah, psyched.
Yeah, I'm very excited to follow that. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. All right. Hey, thank you for coming on, everybody. Thank you for listening. Make sure to come back next week as we continue this series of hunting stories. AJ, thanks again, man.
Yeah, of course.